Yo, Ethereal, back with another video for you guys. Shout out to Subconscious for mentioning me in a video of his. And this video is going to be a little bit related to what he was talking about in that particular video. He was mentioning five ways to notice that you've left a matrix on semen retention. You know, some of the symptoms of having exited this conditioning, this strange synthetic illusory power structure that 90% of the world is thoroughly engaged with. The thing is, even the people that have become aware of this, we do still have to participate in this to a degree, unless we've gotten to the point that we're fully off-grid, fully sustainable, permaculture farming, hunting our own food, solar panels, like totally sovereign, sustainable, off-grid community living, with no awareness of what is being fed through the screens, through the through the ears, through the eyes, all the stuff that we're fed with, all of the man-made regulations and rules and so forth and so on. Until you've physically, completely, literally gotten to that point, I think that even those of us that have on a spiritual, on a mental level, have become cognizant of what's going on here, we're still in it to a degree, if you feel me. Like, we still are paying bills probably. I've got this car, I got to go pay for gas, I got to pay insurance. I mean, it's a technicality here, legal loopholes, actually. A lot of the law, as it's written, turns out is fraudulent or goes against our fundamental human rights. And actually, this country is functioning more like a corporation than a country. That's a whole other tangent. But anyways, I do pay for car insurance because I just don't want to get hassled. I do register my car because I don't want to get hassled. Technically, because I'm not doing commerce in this vehicle, I don't actually have to do that, and I could go to court, represent myself, and probably win, but that's a huge pain for me. And so I play the game a little bit, if you guys know what I mean. So but at the same time, my conscious awareness is such that I'm able to see things that most people can't see and feel things that most people can't feel. This isn't some sort of like flex or something. I think I'm talking to people who also feel and see these things as well. There are plenty of us, but when you compare that to the amount of people that cannot feel or see these things, then we're few and far between. And I'm noticing this more and more. So what I wanted to talk about here is some of the more difficult aspects of being a quote unquote chosen one, of also being on semen retention. I think these things really go hand in hand, you guys, because if you've woken up to the fact that you're really not cut from the same cloth that a lot of people here are cut from, that you're not still in the same slumber that they're in, you are exiting the ways of the world, which include, fornication, masturbation. These things have become normalized, fast food, I mean, list goes on and on. There's so many things that are objectively bad for people that are just normalized, drinking alcohol, sitting in front of a TV, eating fast food and pounding beer. I mean, people get together and do that as a celebration, let's get together and poison ourselves while we stare at a bunch of athletes and then get pharmaceutical drugs and fast food marketed to us, while we go under some sort of strange hypnosis, So those of us that have gone on this journey and decided to obey what I like to call natural law, also God's law. Now, this stuff's all in the scripture. It's all in biblical scripture. It's laid out in very plainly there. If you get into the scripture, it starts to become very clear to you that there's very little wiggle room. God is an orderly God. The Most High God, anyways, is an orderly God. Now, there are these lesser deities, these demigods, these spiritual forces that are malevolent in nature, parasitic in nature, manipulative and deceptive in nature. And as we wake up from our slumber, we do become more and more aware of these forces, and it's difficult. So one thing that I wanted to talk about here, you guys, one of the main difficulties on this path, you know, it's not just that we are denying our carnal nature, the flesh, our lower desires that tend to keep us in a lower state and a lower frequency, that tend to keep us more involved in the world. Not only are we denying those things and ascending out of that, but we're having to see people that we care about, people that we love very much, not making this transition and not necessarily seeing what's going on. So I want to talk a little bit before this video goes on too long, and I'll probably make another on a similar subject. So the shank, let's call it the shank. People playing with sharp objects, the thing that goes in your arm. We have a government job, certain jobs in the health field, something that people have basically been told, you know, either take this or you're fired type of thing. All right, now I'm somebody that has never taken any of those things, nor did I ever wear any of these face coverings. And I took a tremendous amount of harassment, abuse, gaslighting, had a lot of so-called friends leave my life. But you know what? It's good riddance, because if my sovereignty of mind, spirit, and body offends you, then you can kick rocks. I don't want you anywhere near me. You know, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't miss these people. I love them, and I feel sad for them. You know, I pray for them, because as far as I can see, they're lost. They're sheep being led to a slaughter, and they don't even know it. And one of the craziest things about this, you guys, is I have some friends, and as I get to know certain people better, you know, certain information comes to light. And oftentimes I'm very surprised, I'm shocked at people that have fallen for this. Now, if you're somebody that took one of these things or several of these things, look, God has all healing power. I'm not gonna feed anybody any mistruth, okay? That would be disrespectful. I'm here to speak truth. That's it. Whether you like it or not is not my business. It just has to be true. So I'm going to tell the truth, is if you took a shank or several of them, a lot of these things were placebos, a lot of them weren't. Now, they were designed to hurt you, okay? These things were designed to harm you. That's why the government pushes it so hard. This is a form of the G word. And I'm not going to say the word because my channel might get flagged. Starts with G. In the middle, there's a Eno. And at the end, there's side. Now put that all together, okay? What does that spell? It's something that was happening in the Holocaust. It's something that Stalin was engaged in. Dictators and tyrants tend to engage in this pursuit because they are being operated and working for these malevolent spiritual forces. And those of us who have been chosen, those of us who are pure in spirit, pure in heart, are essentially targets. We're targets for these people because we're here to speak the truth. We're here to restore order. Of course, it begins with us, right? And this, hence semen retention, hence the spiritual practice, right? This restores order within us so that now we are capable of helping to restore order here in this realm that we share, right? It's in the biblical scripture. We cannot give what is not in our store. We can only give of our store, right? Jesus told us that. It means that I can't give you something I don't have. If I haven't achieved balance, if I haven't been saved, if I haven't been restored to my right mind, then how can I share that with anybody, right? So it starts within. And I've been doing the work. And that's why I feel qualified to speak on these things. I've also been through hell, man, suffering like you wouldn't believe. And I don't want to go into detail about that because I don't want to focus on the darkness. I want to focus on the light, on the solution. So like I said, God has all healing power. So if you're somebody that took one or several of these things, I believe very, very firmly that God will forgive and heal you. And that there are protocols that you can undergo to detoxify your body, your mind, and your spirit. And God, the Father, will redeem you and heal you and protect you, despite the fact that you took a poison from the enemy. So I'm noticing more and more people that I really cherish in my life, that I think are really good-natured, good-hearted people who I'd go way out of my way to help, you know, that like they're family. They're family to me, okay? By the way, I consider all human beings my family. I really do, and it's part of why I'm motivated to do what I do, because I care about my family. And if I see my family being poisoned, I'm gonna say something. I don't care if it offends people. I don't care. Thing is, some people that I love very much have fallen for this. So I pray for them. And the really difficult thing about this is, like, there's a lot of things I can't say. Again, part of the reason for this channel is because those of us that all see this, those of us that are aware of this, those of us that are pure of heart and are becoming more and more pure through these practices like semen retention, we really need to stick together, because the world thinks we're crazy. I mean, it's worse than that. The world, they know we're crazy, right? In their minds, we're just crazy. There's no convincing them otherwise. But in our minds, it's the same, right? It's like, and it's not even like, because we're so compassionate, we don't even look at them, these people, necessarily as crazy. There are crazy people, but people that fall for these agendas, that fall in line, I don't think they're crazy. A lot of these people are really good people, really smart people, really well-intentioned people. It's just that they don't see things quite on the level that we do. They don't have this foresight, right? So certain ones of us have been given this ability to see a few steps ahead. We've been given prophetic abilities. And it started with empathy. When you were a kid, you had empathy that exceeded the norm. You were particularly sensitive, particularly empathic. And then the world got to you. And it probably wasn't that hard because you're so sensitive and the world can be so cruel. And then we go through this period of darkness. And eventually, God graces us with the ability to wake back up and realize the error of our way and how we really participated in our own downfall. And then we stop being victims and we start taking responsibility for all of it, and we start making changes in our lifestyle, and then we start to become healed. The healing is of God. The healing is a natural consequence of us getting in line with what God set out for us. So I do believe these people can be healed, but a lot of them will not. A lot of people will continue to get sick and die, fall into different forms of bondage. All of this is really, a lot of people talk about the mark of the beast, the Shank. That's not the mark, okay? Everything that's going on is conditioning that leads up to the mark, okay? The mark has to do with your ability to buy or sell or do anything in the matrix, to engage in society. At some point, what they're trying to lead us up to is a situation where unless you have this thing, you cannot participate in society. You can't log on the internet. They're trying to silence the truth. They're trying to eliminate God from the equation. And that's impossible. It's impossible. What they're trying to do is literally impossible, you guys. So this is why I'm not afraid to speak on this, nor do I walk in fear. of what's going to unfold, because I know that what they really want to accomplish is actually not possible, right? They can't defeat God. God created them too. But see, God gave certain angels abilities, and they misused them. And they started messing with the natural order of things. They started doing genetic experiments and combining different things that shouldn't have been combined. There were fornications that occurred that should have never occurred, that were against God's law. And now this thing has transpired to an extent where there are people walking around that aren't actually people. You feel me? I think if you're really awake, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to get into detail, okay? Some of these quote unquote people at the top, some of them aren't people, you guys. Some of them are something other than that. Human beings are amazing, beautiful, good, empathic. We're beautiful creatures, but the world hates us. The world hates us. And we have come in here, I've talked about this before, like spiritual paratroopers that dropped into this world of darkness as beings of light. And we fall into this amnesia, but then we wake up and we realize, oh, okay, I'm on a battlefield. This is a battlefield, and I am a warrior. And I chose this. And God chose this, and God chose you before you were even born. There was an agreement that was made, and you knew it was going to suck. You knew it was going to be really hard. But you're such a strong spiritual being at your core that you are willing to face all of this adversity. Why? Because you love God, and you love God's creation, and you love God's people. You love God more than you fear the suffering of the flesh, more than you fear the persecution of the world. You love God more than that. That's what enables you to do what you can do, see what you can see, know what you can know, right? So yeah, this is going to be difficult, and you can't talk about certain things with certain people. A friend of mine was just telling me about how he's got to get all of these inoculations because he wants to get a job for a certain large-scale corporation, something I would never do. And I told him in my own way, if there's any way for you to not do this, please don't do this. I don't trust these inoculations. You know, I had to tell him the truth, the best of my ability, in a way that was tactful and polite. But of course, this man is going to make his decisions. They're his decisions to make, they're not mine. And it would be wrong for me to impose my will on him. It's all under God's will. So this is the difficulty we face, is how do we navigate this thing tactfully and fly under the radar? We're like low key, but at the same time, we're not afraid to tell the truth. There's a balance, right? So I'm working on that. All right, this video's gone a little bit longer than I intended. If you're still with me, like, subscribe, share, comment, hit me up. This is all about connecting like minds. There's a family of us. We're all coming online together. We're all remembering that we came here with a mission, with a purpose. And it's very important for us to stick together and have these conversations, because we can't talk about this with, good 90% of the population, right? They're just going to try and gaslight us. And that's not good for us energetically, all right? So let's stick together. Let's stay the course. Stay retaining. Keep your energy on point, sober-minded, focused, joyful, in faith, knowing we are protected. There are spiritual laws in place that no matter how bad these people want to hurt us, there's certain things they cannot do. And you understand also one last thing. When you're in right standing with the Father, Satan, the adversary, does not want to kill you when you're in that state. They could kill you. They've got the weapons. They've got the ability. They got the henchmen. But they don't want to do that because of the spiritual consequences are too high. When they kill a man in right standing with the Lord, there's a ripple effect in the spiritual world, and it harms the forces of darkness. So you stay pure and you're like untouchable. All right? So stay untouchable. Peace.